Don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Hey! We're recording the podcast! Shut up!
Good morning to you, wherever you are, because it is morning somewhere for June 4th, 2024. My name is Bernie Burns, sitting right across from me, right over there, a surprise guest. It's Ashley.
I'm back, bitches.
Sometimes travel plans don't go as planned.
Look, this is what I am here for.
That's why they're called travel plans and not travel executions. Because they go wrong all the time. So Ashley's back for another day. Reprieve from the governor. Late night call.
For the first time, for the last time.
So say hi to Ashley, everybody. It's Tuesday. How are you all doing?
Welcome to Tuesday.
But this is it. I mean, seriously, this is the last time for this week.
We just keep faking people out and every day.
This is 100%
Every day
it.
we have special guest Ashley.
No more after this. All right. Well, we got a couple of things to talk about. A couple mini little follow-up things I want to talk about in what is going to, no doubt, make people so happy. That is on my mind. Is the box office numbers came out yesterday for the weekend.
What did they have to say, Bernie?
Trigger warning. I'm going to talk about Furiosa. Garfield won the weekend with $14 million.
Oh, my God.
Not only did Garfield pass Furiosa, there's nothing else coming out in the first weekend of June, essentially, right?
Right. Yeah. Look, the box office in general is not in a great place.
And that is down 69% from a year ago.
Nice.
When Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse opened to over $120 million.
And that reminds me, though, that the Disney has just been talking about their plans for Inside Out 2. And one of the things that's interesting about that is they've already announced, the movie's not out in theaters yet, but they've said it's going to have a 100-day exclusive run in theaters. It's almost like they're trying to communicate to people.
That's 3 months, though. That's a long time. Yeah.
No, it is. It's what I'm saying is they're communicating ahead of time. Don't wait for this to come on streaming. Because there have been things coming on streaming within a month of hitting theaters. Yeah. And I think that this is one of the, it's great for consumers because it's a much more cost-effective way to watch these movies as they're coming out. If you're like, I can wait a month, that's easy. They're saying, don't wait. Or if you do, go ahead. You'll have to wait all summer. It won't hit Disney Plus until like September. So they're saying, if you want to watch a movie on the break, don't wait. Go to the theaters. They've been training, not just Disney, but all of the companies studios have been training people almost to just wait because they don't have to wait that long.
No, yeah, because especially Disney, which went all in on Disney Plus a while ago. They were trying to train people to watch stuff on streaming as well.
They did too well.
Disney was also in the news recently because they now have this initiative to revitalize Pixar, which was, a juggernaut for so long. And then just
it's weird to think of Pixar as needing revitalization.
It is. It's very weird to think of Pixar as being that way. But yeah, they've had to try to revitalize it. And one of the ways they're going to try to do that is by just following the numbers and going all in on sequels for stuff.
They're not wrong.
They're not wrong.
It just sucks.
Yeah. You're just an asshole, man. You're not wrong. You're just an asshole.
Yeah.
But so to finish up on this box office stuff, I'm fascinated by this because this was my life for so long. And it's one of those things, it's like, I don't think it's doing anything wrong. And, why is it just not producing the numbers? And it's got to be the overall box office. But the crazy thing about Furiosa is Furiosa did in its second weekend, Ashley, $10 million. And Garfield is doing better than Furiosa in the international market. Adding to its further woes, not only did it do poorly, the film also got edged out. This is according to Hollywood Reporter. The film also, Furiosa, got edged out by John Krasinski's family film If, which was in its third week. So, yeah, no hope for a rebound for Furiosa after that dismal first weekend. So, I don't know. That kind of thing is just kind of fascinating to me.
Right. Like there are sometimes movies that don't have a really strong first week, but based on word of mouth, they have a stronger second week. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen.
Yeah.
This is not going to be the case with Furiosa. Unfortunately, we are word of mouthing the shit out of it, but it turns out that it will require a couple more people.
our words from our mouths. So there you go. Everyone, I bet the people that we've been word mouthing to are now like, I never want to hear about this movie ever fucking again.
Well, as you said, with marketing, you can never get it just right. It's always like, stop talking about this all the time, or why didn't you tell me?
Or how about
sometimes both at the same time?
Just how about some different words coming out of your mouth, please?
What the hell did you just say?
So let's talk about the Pixar thing for just 1 second. Pixar, everybody loves Pixar. Just right off the top of your head, gut reaction. Don't even think about it. What's your favorite Pixar movie? Go.
Oh, no, Finding Nemo.
Finding Nemo, really? That's your favorite one? I would say Up. Like the more I think about it, it's not the case, but it's just the first one that comes to mind.
Well, Finding Nemo is the one that comes to mind for me because that's a movie that, you know how we've talked before about, you know, like when you're a kid, you have maybe like your movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
For a little while, that was Finn's My Movie. And so we watched Finding Nemo quite a lot in recent times. And the fact that I don't hate Finding Nemo speaks a lot for its quality and just for how much I enjoy that movie. And I think it's a lovely, cute story. And I love the way it's executed and it's great.
I have a similar story with the older boys. As an influencer, I was invited to an early screening of Up, and that has the distinction now of being the first time my sons got to watch me cry like a fucking baby for about 20 minutes straight. With
right at the start of the film.
Atomic bomb they drop on you in the first 10 minutes of that movie. What the hell
is that?
Yeah.
What's that all about?
Did they need all that? Did they need all of that?
Yes, because it goes a long way. If you cut that out, if you just start watching after, you would not like the old guy. Right? Are you tearing up just thinking about it?
Yeah, it's rough.
That story is critical to humanizing the old guy who you would just otherwise you'd be like, who is this asshole?
Yeah.
But as is, you get it.
I do. I love the character design too of everyone in Up. It's absolutely fantastic. So what would you want to see a sequel to? Is there any Pixar movie that you're invested in that you would like to see a sequel?
I want to see the fish from Finding Nemo, or Finding Dory. You know the ones in the
Where are we? Well, come on. Brave. You gotta have Brave, right?
Well, okay, so here's where I get confused, right?
Yeah.
So I was just trying to remember if Brave was the Disney one that was like made to look like Pixar, because they had like a swapperoo at some point.
You know
where
what it was?
Seemed like it was Brave, and what was the other movie?
Wreck-It Ralph was a Disney movie.
Wreck-It Ralph.
But Wreck-It Ralph seemed like a Pixar movie.
Yeah, they like swapped what they were doing. It almost seemed like a challenge. I loved Brave. I thought Brave was awesome.
Arguably, though, not one of the most popular Pixar movies.
No, not by a long shot.
Yeah, it was a Pixar movie with a Disney princess. So it seemed much more like a Disney movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's a dope-ass Disney princess. I love the meme that none of the other Disney princesses can understand her, because I'm like, I get it. Except now I can listen to her and go, oh, no, I understand her.
No, we should go back and watch it now, because I've gone back and watched like funny videos about like the Scottish roofer who's can't get down from
and
the
you
roof.
can understand him now, can't you?
I can absolutely understand that guy.
He's asking like, I can't step here. Where am I supposed to stand?
Yeah.
I can understand him.
I can't put my weight there. There. Where's it meant to go?
There's an accent in Scotland, a specific like regional accent called Doric.
Oh yeah.
And I believe
it's rough.
I believe that's the accent that there's one of the suitors in Brave that no one can understand. I believe he's meant to have a Doric accent. So I kind of want to go back and watch it again and see if we understand it.
It's interesting because it's, when people often will sometimes play translator, or did when we first showed up here, they would play translator for us with other people who speak English. And it was always kind of an embarrassing, kind of funny moment when that happened. When someone comes in and speaks Doric, that's the only time I've ever seen Scottish people be humbled of like, what the hell is this person saying? Like, there's people who don't understand
we
that.
also don't understand them.
Like, I guess there could be an equivalent of some accent in the U.S., like a deep South.
Like a deep South,
yeah.
I think. Who's the guy in, was it King of the Hill?
Oh, yeah. Boomhauer.
Boomhauer. There we go. A little bit like that, right? So I would say that's the equivalent.
Mike Judge, in one of his rare appearances, did a thing where he talked about the inspiration from Boomhauer was a guy who left a voicemail for him at MTV, but he was complaining about the show Beavis and Butthead, but he didn't call it Beavis and Butthead. He kept calling it Porky's Butthole. or something like that. Something like that. God, and Zach Galifianakis, I think, is on the couch next to him on this talk show. And Zach Galifianakis is beside himself.
Well, before we get too far away from Pixar, there's more than just Pixar happening in Oakland, Bernie. Have you heard about the meat spill?
Okay, I'll admit this. You sent this article to our group chat. I specifically just didn't read it because I want you to explain to me what the fuck is a meat spill.
Okay, so I'm going to read you. This is a bit of an article from CBS News. California Highway Patrol in Oakland issued a severe traffic alert early Friday evening after a, quote, meat spill, reportedly chicken and beef parts that came off a truck, closed northbound lanes of I-880 near 29th Avenue. So this is this is near where I lived at one time. And there are photos of it, and it's like an entire freeway covered in ground beef.
Gross.
And they had
No thanks. A little one. Yeah, no thanks.
Gross.
And they've got like trucks, like plows practically, right? Going down the road, just plowing pink mush off the road. And what's the worst part about that is that it looks terrible. And then you smell it.
Oh.
Just imagine what that is gonna smell like.
I guess it depends on how fast you clean it up, right?
I guess, but there's still going to be, like, you walk in somewhere and if there's, if someone's left, like, one of those, like, styrofoam containch with the meat juice from the ground beef or whatever.
Okay, take it easy.
It's
Tuesday. Okay.
Now imagine a freeway. We're talking a city of meat. And that's right near Pixar. They're based in Oakland, Emeryville specifically. And I used to live right down the road from them. In fact, the first place I ever took my dad for sushi was right across the street from Pixar, and thought it was very funny that the sushi place here, they had a Shrek roll and a Fiona roll.
Oh my God.
But they didn't have any Pixar rolls.
Oh, that is interesting because someone from Pixar might show up and then send them a cease and desist because they're that close by.
I mean, I would assume that was like the regular place for Pixar employees to go get lunch. It was like the closest thing you could get.
You get like a Nemo roll when you go there. Might be too on the nose. That upsets me a little bit just because, I mean, it upsets me a lot. Meat, of all the things, like wasting meat is top on the list for me that I get very upset about it. Like I have a visceral reaction to it.
Right,
You
like
know about this.
Yes, like if you throw out lettuce, who got hurt really?
It's going back to the earth. It's going back as long as you don't wrap it in a plastic bag and throw it away. But meat, it's just like I have a visceral reaction to that.
Well, that's understandable because that is like there was injury to make that meat.
Hey, while you're talking about places to eat around Pixar,
Yeah.
did you ever hear about like the famous Pixar lunch with the OG luminaries at Pixar where they went to one lunch and came up with like every character for a decade?
No, but can I know where they went? Because just in case I need inspiration, that would be good to know.
That's a good question.
If I was at a restaurant, I'd be like, this is where Pixar happened to everybody.
Like literally.
You want your creative juices flowing, come on in and buy a Shrek roll.
I want to say, get yourself a Dory Nigri. Hold on one second. I said Nigri instead of Nigiri, by the way. I've got Jessica Nigri on the mind.
I do the same thing.
But so this Pixar lunch that they had together, I'm going to look this up really quickly, and this is my typing voice while I type to look this up. This is from Business Insider. This is why one lunch meeting at the Hidden City Cafe in Point Richmond, California, may be one of the most important moments in Pixar's history. In the summer of 1994, director John Lasseter, writers Andrew Stanton, Joe Ranft, Pete Docter were putting the finishing touches on Pixar's first feature, Toy Story, when during a lunch meeting, a big question was raised: what are we going to do next? They later recalled the meeting where they came up with A Bug's Life, Monsters, Inc., Finding Nemo, and WALL-E, all at the same lunch.
Holy moly, that's a power lunch.
That's a power lunch. Or that's a commitment to the ideas. Like, we're just sticking with these 4 ideas and we're going to make them work.
Right, like the ideas are one thing, the execution is what will make it magic. I have some unfortunate news, however, and that is that Port Richmond, California's Hidden City Cafe is closed.
Is it closed?
Yes, you will have no inspiration for you.
Well, guess what? Disney's going to bring it back as a sequel. because they're going to revitalize Pixar. Dude, if I was Disney, I would buy that restaurant and I would say, just go eat there every single day, guys. Just go do that every single day.
Just send like a different creative team there every day.
What's your favorite Pixar out of that list that I just read you? You can't say Finding Nemo because Finding Nemo.
Okay, Monsters Inc.
Monsters Inc., huh?
I love Monsters Inc.
Had a prequel, Monsters University. Is that what it was called?
It did. And I think that's what it was called. I did see it. It didn't have the magic of Monsters Inc. It was fun, but it has the same problem that all prequels have.
You know where they're going to end up?
Yeah.
Yeah. What you know?
It's just so much harder to...
Mike Wachowski's going to survive. He's not going to get murdered.
Or like he's not going to get like kicked out forever, right? Of jokester school and never have a chance of working.
Jokester school.
Right. I guess it would be Scarer School at the time.
I'm at Jokester School. I guess it did turn into Jokester School, after the events in Monsters, Inc. Huge spoiler, by the way. You know what would have been crazy? If, like Furiosa, if Mike Wachowski had shown up at the beginning of Monsters University. No, if he had two eyes. And you're like, shit, what's about to go down? He's about to lose an eye. But I like WALL-E. WALL-E always speaks to me.
WALL-E's really charming. WALL-E's also interesting because is that the Pixar movie with the least amount of dialogue?
Oh, it's got to be. I mean, there's no dialogue in the movie up until the end when he gets on the ship. I would think.
Well, I mean, when you bring the humans into it, there's dialogue, but it's really a very visually told story, and it's such a sweet, beautiful story.
It also has, to me, though, the most jarring Pixar moment in any of the movies because all of a sudden they have live action in the movie.
It is
with the president of Earth. Yeah,
they have something like that. Was it Happy Feet?
Is it Fred Willard? Who is it? Who shows up there? It's the famous improv guy. He's like in all the Christopher Guest stuff. I should know his name off the top of my head. I'm losing it right now. I was saying the other day that I have a close to a photographic memory if all the photos were slightly blurry. That's how my memory works.
Like you could use reading glasses to make out the edges, but other than that, you got the shape of it.
I know I've got a photo of it. I just can't tell you what's in the photo.
you are correct, by the way. Fred Willard plays Shelby Forthright, the BNL CEO.
See, I should have faith in myself.
Everyone else here in the credits is like voice. Nope, there's Fred Willard.
Just Fred Willard hanging out in the middle of them all.
As you do.
Great name, Willard. This also jogs a memory. Killer Willard? Yeah. Did you ever see look up Killer Willard? You're going to love it. It's a woman from the 80s who came from Australia, and she has a Russian accent. It's a boxing kangaroo.
Yeah, I remember
and she brings it on a talk show, or like a morning talk show, and it beats the hell out of everybody on the set. It's amazing. It's amazing.
We'll post it in the link dump because, look, I understand that a boxing kangaroo is funny. The gloves are not where the kangaroo's dangerous. So,
No, and I think it's too, like back in the 80s, people had heard about kangaroos, right? You're not going to run into a kangaroo. Now, because of the internet, you see videos of kangaroos, which are always awesome, by the way. Always awesome. But then you see photos of these things, and they're fucking jacked. Kangaroos are just like, they're scary jacked.
They are definitely not doing the natural lifting.
They also have a posture that makes them like flex too. Like they look like they're squaring up on you.
Right. Like it shows off like I don't know what their trapezoids or whatever that muscle is up in the shoulders, the one that connects to the neck.
Yeah.
That you can go way overboard on. Okay. Here. Favorite kangaroo video. Is it the one where the two kangaroos are fighting and the guy goes, "Oh, use them mates"? Or is it the one where you have a
Hey, cut it out. Use them mates.
What would your parents say?
Or is it the one where the guy is like parachuting down and a kangaroo comes out of fucking nowhere and just bashes the guy and then runs off?
Guy's parachuting down to what looks like a helipad in the middle of nowhere. And as he's parachuting down to it, all of a sudden this kangaroo makes a beeline for him across the plateau. Just makes a beeline for him. He's coming down, and he's like, "Oh, hey, what's going on, Skip?" And then he gets down far enough, the kangaroo attacks him, and he goes, "Hey, fuck off!"
Spoiler: kangaroos have Furiosa lost her arm.
That's exactly how it went down in the movie. And then they took out Mike Wachowski's eye. It's a bad scene.
By boxing. Kangaroo was busy.
Well, I gotta tell one last story. This is kind of a follow-up to yesterday. We can end on this, Ashley. For your last podcast for the week, wink.
For sure.
We were talking yesterday about ulcers, and the whole time we were talking about it, I wanted to bring up this story about the doctor who was the person who was credited with discovering the source of ulcers, at least one of the primary sources of ulcers, which is...
It's not stress?
A bacteria here. I'm going to try to pronounce this. It is Helicobacter pylori. I think the guy parachuted out of a helicobacter when the kangaroo attacked him. And he was a guy, he was actually an Australian guy. He's got for a renowned, very esteemed scientist doctor, he's got a great name, Barry, Barry Marshall. The other gastroenterologists of his time, which was around 1981, weren't ready to accept that bacteria caused ulcers, and he was absolutely convinced of it. So he decided to give himself an ulcer. He drank a cocktail which had the bacteria in it, gave himself an ulcer to prove it, and then cured himself. Which is
commitment. That is commitment. That is no, I am right.
That is a double down, man. That is amazing that he would do that.
It's a double dog down.
To end the podcast today, Ashley, do you have any stories like that where you were right and you knew you were right and you were like, F you?
I mean, nothing on that level. That's that's a world changing level. I mostly go I knew that guy was a dick.
I always had a creepy feeling about that.
I only have really petty versions of that. Nothing that's going to save the world.
When I was in high school, we were talking about something at the start of the class. And I said, yeah, and it's really ironical that would be the case. And my friend Darren behind me, who was on the speech and debate team.
Oh, no.
Who is highly influential in my career, by the way. He loaned me the money to buy my first video camera.
Maybe he felt really bad about, I'm assuming what's coming
here. He doesn't feel bad. He's like probably my oldest friend that I still talk to at this point. This is like 11th grade in honors English. I said ironical, and I just hear this behind me. I hear, pfft. I said, excuse me? And he goes, ironical's not a word. And I go, yes, it is. And then all the other honors English kids around us go, it's not a word. And I said, it's a word. And they said, no, it's not a word. And so I get up, I go get the dictionary. I go to the eyes, Ashley, look it up. Boom, right there. Ironical.
What does ironical mean?
And then I go, ha! There it is, right there in the dictionary. And then they all collectively determined that even though it was in the dictionary, no one uses the word, so it's not actually a word.
Oh, come on, guys.
And I was sitting
That's such a speech and debate approach.
I was sitting there fucking fuming. And it was one of those days when we had to watch a film, like probably some Shakespeare play that was being performed on film. And we sit down and we watch it. In the first scene, a guy goes, how ironical. I stood up and walked out of the class.
With it, just do hands up and go, ha, the whole time.
Which probably would have gotten me suspended. I was an honors kid, so I turned around and came right back in and said, sorry, Miss Thomas. But that was a time that I was right, and I felt good about it. And so I've remembered that to this day. You don't always remember just the embarrassing stuff. You also can remember the triumphs as well. So F you guys.
And that really is a lesson for all of us.
Lesson for all of us. All right, well, that does it for us today. Ash, any sponsors to thank?
Yes, I would like to thank Zinelix and Cody Carter for sponsoring this episode of Morning Somewhere. Thank you both for sponsoring the show.
All right, you guys are both mates. Thank you so much for sponsoring this podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. Me specifically, will be back to talk to you tomorrow. I hope you'll be here as well.
Bye. For real.
Go ahead and say it.
See ya, bitches.
Wait a minute. Wazowski.